Useless old-timers like you are fired today, haha. We don't need you.
That's what the new branch manager said to me. Just a few days after she started at the bank where I'd been working for many years. I got it. Smirking with a just you wait and see attitude as I left. The next day, a sudden account cancellation of $700 million took everyone by surprise.
Huh.
The bank was about to face a series of unexpected and unbelievable events, all starting from that cancellation. My name is Nancy Johnson, 55 years old. I've been working at this local bank since graduating from a community college. I started in a clerical role and worked at the counter. Now, I've stepped back to let the younger, adorable bank clerks handle the front desk. I only go to the counter when called upon by a customer, otherwise, I stay behind the scenes, ready to support my colleagues whenever they need it. Watching them learn their trade and stand their own feels like nurturing my own children. It's truly enjoyable. By the way, I've been married to my husband, Bob, for 32 years. He's 2 years older than I and works as an engineer at an electrical company. He's a straightforward guy who hates dishonesty. He's a great listener of my nonsense, and a wonderful advisor, always gives me sound advice. We were blessed with 2 children, and now they are married and have moved out, so it's just me and Bob living a peaceful life. Recently, a new branch manager was assigned to our bank. Her name is Elizabeth Anderson, a relatively young woman. Just 40 years old. She's probably the youngest branch manager we've had in recent years. During her introduction at the morning meeting, she struck me as a strong-willed woman with a very direct manner of speaking.
Now that I'm here, I'm going to revitalize this branch and achieve the highest performance nationwide. I need everyone's cooperation, so let's work hard together.
She spoke with such clarity and confidence that I immediately knew she was the kind of person I usually find challenging to deal with. After the meeting, the assistant branch manager began showing Elizabeth around the bank and introducing her to the staff. After the morning meeting, we all started cleaning our respective areas of the bank, and I began wiping the windows in the waiting area. That's when Elizabeth and the assistant manager approached me.
Nancy, can I have a word?
Sure, what's up? I replied with a smile.
This is Elizabeth, our new branch manager. Elizabeth, this is Nancy Johnson, our most experienced staff member. She's been with us for about 35 years. So if you have any questions, she's the one to ask. She can solve just about anything.
While the assistant manager was introducing me, Elizabeth looked me over as if evaluating my worth. Pleased to meet you. I might not be as impressive as the assistant manager claims, but I do my best every day, I said, feeling a bit nervous in front of the imposing Elizabeth.
Nice to meet you too. You seem to suit window cleaning quite well.
Excuse me. As I was stunned, she chuckled.
I thought you were the janitor for a moment. Well, if I have any questions, I'll be sure to ask you, Nancy. Let's move on.
Sure. Sorry, Nancy.
Yes, he said, and the two went straight to the conference room. Never before had I been mocked like that upon first meeting someone. How rude. I asked a young colleague cleaning up some scattered magazines nearby. Hey, do I really look like a janitor?
Of course not. You certainly have a mood of dependable mother, but definitely have the presence of a veteran banker, Nancy. That new branch manager is off to a bad start on her first day.
I wonder if that's a compliment or not. It's hard to tell. I thought to myself, as I regretted asking the younger colleague for her opinion. But maybe it's not entirely wrong to say I'm motherly. I admit, I can be a bit naggy. I do tend to fuss over the younger staff. Even after that, the assistant manager continued to show Elizabeth around, and the break room was buzzing with rumors about her. Listening in, it seemed that nobody had a good impression of her. Which wasn't surprising after seeing her attitude. But maybe she's as capable as she looks. Perhaps it takes someone as assertive as her to lead the branch to greater heights, as she said in the morning assembly. I decided not to jump to conclusions, and to observe for a while. When I got home, I told Bob about Elizabeth, the new branch manager. He seemed displeased too and said, "Sounds like a nasty piece of work. You can't just run away from your job, so try to avoid her as much as possible." I resolved to stay away from Elizabeth as much as I could. The next day, after the morning assembly, the assistant manager announced he would be away on a business trip for 4 days, and asked us to manage things in his absence. Elizabeth sat down heavily at the manager's desk and began reading the newspaper. Unexpectedly, she called me over.
I'm reading the newspaper here.
Wondering what she meant, I saw her sigh in exasperation.
Oh, don't you get it? Could you make me some coffee?
Okay, sure, just a moment. Surprised. Astonished by her arrogance. As I went to prepare her coffee in the break room, I overheard another male colleague venting to a female colleague. He was upset because Elizabeth had criticized his performance from last month. Indeed, he had the worst contract last month. But normally, that's not the case. It was just a coincidence this time.
I was told that my performance was not good enough and that I need to work harder to achieve results. It was just bad luck that the deals I was working on last month were delayed and only came through this month. It's simply coincidental that the numbers didn't show up in last month's report. What's with that attitude as soon as her arrived?
I found myself in the break room just to make coffee for her, and I really felt like complaining. I consider myself a grown adult, so I didn't say anything, but I really wanted to shout, "What the hell with this branch manager?" From then on, every morning, as soon as she started reading the newspaper, she would order me to bring her coffee. Then, the day before the assistant manager was due back from his trip, Elizabeth came over to me again while I was working.
Nancy, can I have a word?
Yes, what is it?
What exactly is your job here?
She asked me abruptly. I was puzzled, but answered. Currently, I mainly assist with the counter tasks of everyone.
Is that all?
Well, no, I also clean inside the bank and check the parking lot.
So, you're not really doing any significant work, are you?
I was taken aback. Well, maybe that's true.
You see, I've decided to introduce cleaning robots in the bank. That means your job will be redundant, won't it?
She had an insinuating tone. What exactly do you mean by that? Elizabeth put pressure on me.
Supporting counter operations, which is even a single employee can handle that, right? You're just there to help them. That seems like a waste of payroll to me.
So, are you saying I should resign?
Yes, there's no need to keep someone who can't do productive work, right?
I just looked at Elizabeth in silence. She looked down on me.
Don't you think the company needs young, promising talent? It's better to get rid of unproductive, salary-stealing old-timers early on.
Elizabeth's exaggerated smile. Then she leaned in close to me and whispered in a small voice.
Useless old-timers like you are fired today. We don't need you. Haha.
After hearing this, I realized I had no reason to continue working here. I got it. If you're firing me, I'll accept it. We both agreed that Elizabeth would dismiss me. I have a lot of unused vacation days. How long should I keep coming in?
Oh, is that so? Well, you don't need to come in tomorrow.
I got it. It's been a short time since we met, but thank you for everything. I replied, then quickly started packing up for my departure. Elizabeth seemed pleased with my resignation and briskly returned to her desk. While I felt a pang of regret for being outmaneuvered into resigning, there was also a sense of liberation. And if she thinks I'm incompetent, she's probably mistaken. Imagining what might happen next, I couldn't help but smirk.
Nancy, Smith is here to see you.
A colleague at the reception called out me. Having worked in customer service for over 30 years, I've naturally built close relationships with many clients. Smith, in particular, had been trusting me and using our bank for over 20 years. Thank you, I'll be right there. This would be my last day to serve such clients. I wished I had more time to properly say goodbye. It was a great regret. Determined to serve my last client with all my heart, I headed to Smith's waiting seat. After finishing my duties for the last time, I bid farewell to my colleagues in the locker room. They were shocked by my sudden resignation and openly expressed their anger towards the manager.
How much we rely on Nancy, that woman has no idea. Who are we going to turn to in difficult times now?
Exactly. It's not just us. Many longtime customers depend on Nancy too.
They said, their faces almost tearful. I'm concerned about the customers too. It's unfortunate that I have to leave without saying goodbye, but if anyone asks for me, please explain it to them.
Of course, we've got it.
Thank you. I'm sorry for the suddenness. If you ever need help, feel free to call me. I said, bidding farewell to the bank where I had worked for so many years. The next day, during lunchtime, I received a message on social media from one of the young bank clerks. While sipping tea at home,
Smith came in this morning and canceled all his deposits. He said if Nancy isn't here, there's no reason to keep his money with us.
Smith, the only customer I had the chance to say goodbye to. When I told him about my resignation yesterday, he seemed deeply disappointed, which probably led to his decision. I felt terribly sorry, but it was out of my hands now. In my heart, I thanked Smith for trusting me so much and for his gesture. By the way, Smith is the president of a very famous local trading company and was one of my biggest clients. I remember hearing his total assets were nearly $1 billion. The amount he had deposited with us was about $700 million. With such a large withdrawal, our branch must have suffered a significant blow.
What do you mean?
A customer who was with Nancy said that if Nancy is no longer here, there's no point in keeping their account with our bank, so they canceled everything.
What, really?
Elizabeth was reportedly so surprised that she was speechless. I wish I could have seen her reaction with my own eyes. A week has passed since I left my job. During this time, I received several calls from my former colleagues, informing me that many customers, just like Smith, were canceling their accounts upon learning of my departure. The staff knew that I hadn't left on my own accord but was forced out, so they were unable to persuade these customers to stay. Furthermore, the news of my departure spread from customer to customer, leading to dozens of inquiries each day at the branch. Following these inquiries, customers would come in the next day to close their accounts. Elizabeth was reportedly pale with fear as the cancellations continued day after day. If this trend persisted, the survival of the branch itself was in jeopardy. She was living in fear, wondering when the next account cancellation would occur. Then, I heard that an investigation had been launched by the headquarters. In just over a week since my departure, the total amount of canceled accounts had exceeded $2 billion. The assistant manager was confronting Elizabeth daily, filled with anger and panic. Why did you arbitrarily decide to fire Nancy? With Nancy's experience, it's obvious she had long-standing relationships with our clients. How are you going to handle this situation? Then, Michael, the division manager from the headquarters, came for the investigation.
It's been a while, Branch Manager Anderson. You seem to be having a tough time since your assignment. What happened?
Michael, the division manager. Welcome.
Elizabeth, completely taken aback, greeted him in a flustered voice. The employees were apparently struggling to hold back their laughter.
I heard you recently let go of Nancy, who had been working here for many years. Were you unaware of her reputation? Nancy was highly regarded even at the headquarters.
Elizabeth was visibly shocked to learn about my reputation and seemed amazed that someone as
What, really? But she seemed so unassuming.
Hey, appearances don't matter. Nancy was diligent and attentive, managing many long-term clients. Nancy was trusted so much by the clients that they felt comfortable only with her. Didn't you know she was repeatedly recognized in company-wide meetings?
What did you say?
Hearing this exchange, Michael spoke up calmly.
Elizabeth, this situation is a result of your unilateral decisions. You must be prepared to take responsibility.
How could you not know that Nancy was just doing relaxed cleaning and occasionally helping others? Why didn't you inform me?
Elizabeth tried to defend herself in panic. But the assistant manager retorted.
Don't blame me. Judging Nancy as incompetent based on just a few days of observation is absurd. Plus, you fired her while I was away on business. If you had consulted me, I would have never allowed you to fire her.
Elizabeth was left speechless and trembling. Michael continued.
We will have a board meeting to discuss this matter. Also, we have reviewed your work history. You have increased contract numbers through forceful methods. There have been numerous complaints from both staff and customers at your previous branches, and all of them were related to your clients.
Elizabeth looked at Michael with a tearful face. Unperturbed, he went on.
Our bank's motto is sincerity to customers. Your approach would never earn their trust. And your failure to recognize a hard-working employee like Nancy shows you lack the ability to lead. Regardless of the outcome, Elizabeth, I don't see a bright future for you in this bank.
After saying this, Michael left for the headquarters. Elizabeth collapsed on the spot, stunned and unable to move for a while, as reported by a colleague who witnessed the scene. During my time as a teller, I had actually been personally requested by many clients, including executives, CEOs, chairpersons, private investors, and owners of private businesses, mostly for substantial transactions. The amounts they deposited ranged from tens to hundreds of millions, like Smith. Not knowing this and firing me unilaterally meant losing the trust of these clients who had faith in me, leading them to surely transfer their accounts elsewhere. It was something that could have easily been foreseen, yet all because Elizabeth rashly deemed me incompetent. Following this, Elizabeth was relieved of her position as branch manager and sent to work in a remote branch, doing the same teller work she had looked down upon. However, her attitude and mannerisms continued to alienate both staff and customers, leaving her counter mostly empty. There's even talk of her being moved to a contractual position. If she had changed her attitude after being transferred, things might have turned out differently, but it seems her pride didn't allow it. I deeply pity her for that. Later, Michael and the assistant manager visited my home to personally apologize.
We are truly sorry for what happened to a model employee like you, Nancy. Elizabeth's rudeness will be apologized for by me on her behalf. Nancy, would you consider coming back to work at our bank?
Nancy, I'm also asking you, please. I'm truly sorry for the unpleasant experience you had. It was my oversight, but our branch really needs you. Please come back.
Both of them bowed deeply, pleading repeatedly for me to return to work. Their desperate demeanor led me to ask for some time to think it over. That night, after discussing it with Bob, he said,
"If they went to that length to ask you, and if you think it's right, then maybe you should go back."
Given that the root cause, Elizabeth, was going to be dealt with, and they were so earnest in wanting me back, I saw no reason to refuse. The next day, I contacted the assistant manager and successfully returned to work. Upon my return, I reached out to the customers who had canceled their accounts, and fortunately, most of them came back. The assistant manager was overjoyed that both the customers and I had returned. It was a rare sight to see a grown man cry and bow in gratitude, something you wouldn't see anywhere else. I heard that our branch was at risk of being absorbed, but this issue was resolved thanks to the return of the customers. With Elizabeth transferred, the assistant manager was promoted to branch manager. He might be a bit timid, but I think he's a good boss who pays attention to those around him. Since he relies on me, I have to work hard to meet his expectations. This incident has made us both realize how important mutual trust is. And today, I am working to my best at the bank, supporting my colleagues and each other.
Is dining on your mom yummy, Mr. Jobless?
That's how an interviewer, who I had unexpectedly run into at a fancy restaurant, mocked me. Just the other day, he had insulted me persistently during an interview. After graduating from university, I had spent time abroad, and this interviewer scorned me for not being in the United States, even labeling me as jobless.
You're not doing him any favors by spoiling such a jobless guy, ma'am,"
said the interviewer, taking advantage of the fact that I didn't retort due to the upscale nature of the high-end restaurant. He even began lecturing my mother. He didn't expect that a few minutes later, he would be told by my mother, "Turns out you're the jobless." My name is Mark Harris. Dressed in a cool suit for a job interview, I'm standing in front of a large building. Today, I'm here for an interview with a company in this building. I saw my watch 9:40 am. The interview is due to start at 10 o'clock. I arrived in front of the building 20 minutes early as planned, feeling a sense of satisfaction. I'm really impressed that trains and buses are on time in the United States, as I recently returned from living abroad. I left the United States 5 years ago, right after graduating from university. I enrolled in the economics department at my university, but not because I particularly wanted to study economics. I chose a university that was easy for me to commute from home. The only reason I ended up in the economics department there was because it was the one my grades allowed me to get into. However, I felt increasingly out of place with every class, realizing this wasn't what I wanted. I had a dream, but somehow I had given up on it as unachievable. So, I just drifted through university. That's when my mom got a job overseas. She was a career woman, always on the move, so her absence from home was nothing new. Ever since I was young, my mom was often away from home, but I never really felt lonely because my dad was always at home. In contrast to mother, my father is a writer. He seems to be a popular writer to some extent, but my father is extremely shy and has a hard time being in front of people. He hardly ever appeared in public, earning the nickname the Phantom Writer. Some even speculated the writer for real was a robot, denying his existence. By the way, since my father dislikes having his photo taken, the author's photo for his works is always a picture of the cactus he is growing. Despite their differences, my parents were inseparable. When my mom had to work overseas, my dad simply said that he needed to find his passport and pack their bags, indicating his easygoing decision to accompany her. My dad always boasts that his job can be done anywhere in the world, as long as he has an internet connection. My mom, understanding Dad's nature, said that she had known he'd say that and suggested him to renew his passport first. If it were overseas, honestly, I also wanted to go, so I raised my hand and told my mom to take me together. But she immediately rejected it, persuading me of the importance of graduating from university. And just like that, my dream of living overseas was shattered. Even after that, my mom continued to travel all over the world for work, and Dad always went with her. My parents left me and our home in the United States so that I could continue to live there, and they moved overseas at ease. Left alone in the family home, I was initially resentful but soon resolved to make my own way abroad. Somehow, I managed to graduate from university, and instead of finding a job, I spent time living abroad in France and Italy. During my time in France and Italy, I only worked day jobs and part-time, which makes me realize now that I virtually had no employment history. I don't know why, but belatedly, I couldn't help but feel a flicker of doubt, wondering if everything was going to be all right. With these anxieties in my heart, I reassured myself that everything would be fine because I'd passed the document screening. I then headed towards the company for the interview, once again encouraging myself.
Mr. Harris, please come this way.
I checked in at the reception and am guided to a conference room. This time, I'm interviewing with a reasonably large apparel company called Sakura Blooms. The company primarily focuses on products for women and has an overwhelmingly female workforce. There are only a few male employees, and it seems I'm the only one taking the interview this time. Was it because I was applying for a mid-career position? But the job posting said they were hiring 3 people. As my anxiety grew, the door of the conference room where I was suddenly opened with a click.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's start the interview.
The one who appeared was a man whose name tag said Carter. I was initially surprised by his attitude as he entered, but what shocked me even more was his appearance. A gray suit that you can easily find at a big box store. It was so wrinkled, I wondered how it could have been stored to get that way. Even without a close look, it was obvious the buttons were coming undone. And the tie, where on earth do they sell those? It was a strikingly bright fluorescent pink, with a cute illustration of a chick with large, eyelashed eyes right in the center. Where on earth do they sell such ties? Cart staring at his tie, he flashed a grin and said, "This tie. It's unique and stylish, isn't it?" I could only offer a polite smile. His hair was slicked down, either with too much wax, or perhaps he hadn't bathed since yesterday. There was a distinct lack of cleanliness about him. I was quite shocked by Carter's reaction. Then he looked at me and sighed. When I was suddenly asked, "You're a guy, right?" I could only reply with a hesitant yes, I am. I wondered if he mistook me for a woman.
Do you understand that our brand primarily focuses on women's clothing, and still you applied for the job?
Yes, of course.
Why? There are plenty of men's brands out there. Why did you specifically apply to ours?
Oh, is the interview already starting? With that thought, I shared the reasons for my application that I had come up with myself. I'm interested in working at your company to deepen my knowledge about clothing and fashion.
Oh, okay.
A remarkably interested response came back. Is this an interview? What's going on here?
What other brands do you know? You're not just aware of our brand, are you?
Certainly not. If your company targets the same demographic, Hachiremo and Earthshop have recently become popular. They offer products with a casual yet work-appropriate design, incorporating sophisticated colors and styles. If we target a slightly older age group, Ing is popular for its wide range of colors and ease of reuse. When I answered, Carter showed a momentary surprised expression. He had a look on his face as if he didn't expect I had been studying women's apparel brands. It's a job interview, so you should study for it.
Well, you should be able to answer that much. Now, let's talk about your work history. What's your work history?
Yes, I've been overseas until recently. I've experienced various jobs in France and Italy.
Full-time positions. Your resume shows a blank in the work history section.
Oh, yes. I mainly worked part-time jobs.
So, is this your first job interview then?
Yes. This is my first job interview for a full-time position. When I answered honestly, Carter looked at me with complete disdain in his eyes.
You were abroad, but you still end up as a part-timer. Were you just living off your parents' money?
No, it's not like that. I had worked part-time jobs during my university years to save money for my overseas experience.
You know, people who say they were mostly abroad are kind of loose compared to us Americans. It's a bit worrying. They might be doing their job with a lack of diligence, and I can't trust them.
Well, I'm also an American, but...
And you, talking all high and mighty about having been abroad, but that's nothing to brag about. I've thought from your appearance that you're a bit weak, and lately, there have been too many guys like you. Men should have a strong presence.
And he starts eloquently describing his ideal image of a man. I've been listening, but it's starting to become a bit of a confusing conversation. What on earth am I being told?
Besides, I hate to say it, but for a guy to actively pursue a company targeted at women, it seems like you have ulterior